Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, September 6th. So the moon is in Virgo all day. We are about to have our new moon in Virgo at 8:52 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be taking place at 14 degrees. I highly recommend you download your moon guide. I also recommend that you take a listen to this particular energy event in September's energy forecast. Another fun fact, Mercury will be entering into the pre-shadow period here today, preparing to go retrograde very, very soon. We want to just keep in mind that things are going to slow down. We want to keep in mind that things are going to, especially in our mental plane and our communication styles, get a little bit fuzzy. Mercury will be going retrograde towards the end of the month, but the pre-shadow period kind of gives us an indicator on what we can expect once Mercury actually retrogrades. So today is a hugely busy day in the cosmos. 16 different aspects taking place today, and 10 of them involve the moon. It is Moon Day, Monday, and of course, when it is Moon Day, any aspect that the moon kind of performs for us is a doozy. The fact we have a new moon taking place is just that much more energy coming in, going to pressurize us, going to amplify those ascension symptoms. Definitely listen to this week's ascension symptom forecast if you haven't already. And be prepared for a very push and pull kind of day. We are in the dark phase of the moon now. We are kind of being asked to rest, recharge, retreat, to pay attention to all that is transpiring in our emotions, in our headspace, and of course, in our physical realities. So, the sun in Virgo is going to be making a harmonious aspect with Saturn, the Lord of Karma. This is really going to help us, especially from yesterday's energy, to boss up, to get a grip, to get control over your thoughts, over your emotions. Now, this is going to require us to have a little bit more discipline where our emotions are concerned. And it's definitely going to be tested in a lot of different ways because we're having a lot of outside triggers really push us to see whether or not we have grown, whether we have evolved, whether or not we're actually practicing observing oneself instead of reacting from ego. So the moon squares the true node, and the true node wants to show us where it is that we need to be aligning for the path forward. However, it's a crisis point. We have to rework a couple of things, especially seeing how we did a deep dive yesterday. We really getting ourselves into a little bit more stable ground here today. We have to rethink how it is that we are allowing these outside triggers to have more power and control over us than what it is that we would definitely prefer. The thing about this is that we have to take a good look at our actions, at our behaviors, because essentially we are blocking our own growth. We're blocking our own evolution. We think we want better, we're trying to do better, but every single time that we're presented with an opportunity to step up to the plate, we fall victim to past patterns and behaviors. This is going to be an aha moment for us to really see where it is we need to be a little bit more structured and disciplined in those times where we are being triggered, to take a time out before we react out of ego and instead elevate to the observer mentality to see how it is that we reacted and behaved in the past to certain situations like this, where it is that we can make the difference by breaking the chain and actually doing something different. We get a lot of support in this particular challenge, if you will, because the moon is going to be making a positive interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer. So yes, we do have to take a good look at our wounds. We have to analyze the inner workings of the memory flashes coming up when we are triggered by certain situations outside of us. This is a beautiful opportunity for us to heal not only the memories, not only the narrative, but the actual emotion that is taking place. We have to understand that this new moon energy is sitting across from highly highly intense energies coming in from Neptune, retrograde in Pisces, showing us a spiritual aha moment where it is that we're seeing the soul contracts of the past, how certain things unfolded, why we had to learn those certain lessons, and how it applies to the wisdom that we're able to actually bring forth in this moment and make a positive change with. So Mars, who is in Virgo, is going to be trining Pluto, the god of the underworld. This particular energy is really going to trigger our aggression. Why? Because the things that we are feeling powerless over, the things that we are feeling that we are lacking control over, now we desperately are desiring the upper hand. We are passionate about using some of the shadow elements of our thoughts and of our emotions as the fuel needed, as the catalyst needed for us to take our power back. Mars, of course, is the god of war. He wants to take action. But because he's in Virgo, Virgo, of course, needs to think, needs to plan, needs to strategize before taking action. This Plutonian energy is dark. It's retrograde in Capricorn, trying to illuminate for us the fears, the insecurities, the doubts that we're having, the uncertainties. It's bringing up all of our past pain, all of our past trauma, not to paralyze us, but for us to realize that we only suffered in that way in the past because we lacked boundaries, because we did not stand in our power, because we essentially gave our power away. Having these realizations gives us an opportunity to take our power back. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Saturn, again, the lord of karma. This time it's not such a harmonious and upbeat type of conversation. Now he's coming at us with a tough love life lesson, an opportunity for us to learn where it is, again, that we have to have the upper hand over our emotions and over our thoughts. Yes, negative Nancy is very loud. Yes, Betty the bully is coming out of the woodwork. And yes, Debbie Downer just wants you to sit and cry with her about all the reasons of why we shouldn't push forward, why we should reflect on the past, why we should sit in our victimhood. And this particular energy, yes, is going to take us in the darkness, only for us to see where it is that we need to look for the light. We get that light when Venus in Libra trines Jupiter, who is retrograde in Aquarius. So this particular energy wants to show us where it is that we need to grow, where it is that we need to evolve past this darkness, past this heaviness through love. Venus in Libra is all about love, but the love has to start with ourselves. We can't reflect back on our choices, back on our decisions in the situations where we had pain and traumatic situations take place to us and not love ourselves. We cannot truly love someone else if we're not fully in love with ourselves. Jupiter wants to show us the big picture of it all. He wants to show us why, because we lacked worth, because we lacked value in ourselves, because we lacked boundaries, because we lacked power in past relationships where pain and trauma took over, why we had to have that experience to boss ourselves up, to stand in our power, stand in our wisdom, and of course, recognize that it was all scripted by our higher selves. And one would think, well, why the hell would we ever sign up to go through pain and torture? Well, as humans, that is the only way that we learn. This particular aspect is going to illuminate for us, yes, the big picture, the inner workings of our past into the present moment, and of course, give us a beautiful, optimistic, and positive vision for the future. Now, the moon goes ahead and bumps into Pluto again, right? This is almost like a conversation like, oh, okay, I'm taking one step forward, I'm being better, I'm more optimistic. And then we have to take another step back into the darkness just to say, oh, okay, yeah, no, fears are still there. Insecurity is still there. Need to rework a couple of things. This particular conversation now between the moon and between Pluto wants to dive into the deep inner workings of our mental plane, of our memories, of our psyche, of our heart space, to see where it is that we felt powerless in the past, where it is that we did not advocate for ourselves in the past, where it is that we did not stand firm in our own worth, in our own value, and where it is that trauma took place because of it. This is a beautiful opportunity for us to totally heal mind, body, and soul, that particular aspect, energy, and experience of who it is that we were, and recognize that that is no longer who it is that we are now, and it sure as hell is not going to be who it is that we are setting out to be. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Mercury, who is in Libra. And this is, again, not such a nice situation because there's a lot of outside triggers really activating our wounds, really activating our inner frustration. And because Mercury is so hell-bent on finding peace, finding balance, doing what is right, doing what is fair, we're really suffering under the darkness, under the heaviness, and under the weight at this particular time. This outside trigger, this comment, this story, this tidbit of information, this disruption to your daily life, to the plans that you had, is really going to tick us off. And it is going to put us in a situation where we should be communicating with confidence, with clarity, but instead we close up, we detach, we get stuck in the fear of actually speaking up and speaking out and advocating for ourselves. And then we just kind of move that much further away from the opportunity to boss up and make a change. The moon goes ahead and squares Venus, who is also in Libra. And this particular aspect is going to illuminate the attachments that we have to our pain story, the attachments that we have to certain relationships that are continuously pouring in and activating our trauma bonds. This is going to be illuminating all the indecisions that we're having, all the uncertainty that we're having, all of the worth and value issues that we have struggled with. This is going to take us back instead of keeping us present and focused on the future. This is going to take us back to hash out and revisit all the reasons of why we are the way that we are because of what happened. This is going to paralyze us if we let it. And Mercury at this particular point bumps into Jupiter and just says, you know what, we're having a hard time here. We're really being sucked back into the darkness. We really hate this mental narrative. We know we want to do better. We know we can do better, but for some reason, the past is getting the best of us. What do? And Jupiter says, okay, it's time to expand your mind. It's time to look back and rewrite the script. It's time to revisit that pain, that narrative, that story, that memory, and rewrite it in such a way that provides you with an amount of freedom for you to actually move on, closing the door, recognizing that it's no longer serving you, that instead it's actually jeopardizing your success and moving forward. And yes, this is going to be an extreme way of thinking, and it could go either way. If you're not strong enough because of the Saturn aspect to take an emotional reality check, to get a grip over your thoughts and over your feelings, you could really spiral in the darkness and just set up camp there and be very happy to wait out this new moon energy in the darkness. Or as a light worker who is here to alchemize the dark into the light, you could really be challenged in a very tough way, but find a lot of success and celebrate the fact that you're able to walk yourself out of some very extreme thoughts, extreme memories, extreme emotions, and rewrite the script that is more supporting to you to free you from who it is that you were at the times in which that pain actually happened. So the moon bumps into Chiron, the wounded healer, and this is another huge learning opportunity. Yes, emotions are strong. Yes, they're extreme. Yes, they're intense. This is a new moon. It's supposed to illuminate all the dark parts in order for us to get a taste of what it is that we never ever want to experience again. Yes, we're hypersensitive. Yes, we're thinking negatively. Yes, we're having a hard time breaking out of the dark force energies trying to keep us in the lower vibrations. But Chiron is offering us an opportunity yet again to use this pain, to use the darkness as a catalyst for motivation, for inspiration, for change. This is a beautiful time because the moon goes ahead and has a positive conversation with Saturn once again. Saturn provides us with a reality check. It's almost, when you're in a really bad mood and you're in a funk and you know it and you try to talk yourself out of the funk and for some reason we just can't get out of the funk, even though rationally we know that there's no reason to be in the funk. Well, this is what's going on right now. And the moon bumping into Saturn at this point is this reality check. It's like, damn, we are really sitting in the darkness. We are really letting the dark forces win here. What are we going to do about it? Saturn, of course, the Lord of Karma, gives us the opportunity to get a grip, to boss up, to push our thinking outside of the boundaries that we've created where pain loops keep us in a state of paralysis. At this beautiful, beautiful moment, we have the new moon take place. The moon sits right next to the sun, both in Virgo at 14 degrees, sitting across from Neptune retrograde in Pisces. This is going to illuminate the here and now and where it is we want to be. This is going to illuminate the reality of what is and the wishes, the dreams, the visions of what it is we want for ourselves in the future. This is going to illuminate the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is going to put us in a conflict between our heart and our head. This is going to put us in a conflict between knowing that we are in a funk, we don't want to be here, but we don't know how to get out of it. What are we going to do? The beautiful thing about this is that just as the new moon takes place and peaks in its energy, like I said, Uranus is a major contributing factor in this new moon energy, and the moon goes ahead and trines Uranus, the sun goes ahead and trines Uranus, and Uranus shakes us up. There's an epiphany, an aha moment coming in, a moment of genius, a moment of inspiration, a moment where the cosmos and our higher selves trumps all the negative, dark force, ego narratives that we've been sitting in all day. This shifts us out of that funk. It rises us up to a different frequency and vibration where we can act as the observer, where we can mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically see what is going on, mind, body, and soul, and where we get the choice to walk away from the dark forces that have kept us in those darker thoughts and emotions all freaking day. This is a time where the Uranian energy frees us from those dark thoughts, frees us from those dark emotions, from the memories of the past, from the pain and trauma loop that we have happily lived in. Why? Because some of us have basically ingrained our trauma, our past, our pain, our stories so heavily into who it is that we are that we don't know who it is that we are without that pain and trauma. This is an opportunity to be free. This is an opportunity to gain independence, to gain freedom, to rebel against the dark forces that, for the most part, have won the bulk of the day. Just when we get this freedom, just when we get this shift in paradigm, we get another huge, intense energy from Mars in Virgo bumping into Jupiter, who of course magnifies what is going on. The good part about this is we are in a positive mind frame, positive energy, a higher vibration than earlier on in the day. And Jupiter is going to turn the volume all the way up on the passion that we have, on the courage that we're now being downloaded with, the bravery that we've been lacking to make a change, the confidence that we've needed in order to bust free from the pain and the trauma that has kept us in a holding pattern, that has kept us attached to old systems, old paradigms, old relationships, old ways of thinking that prevent us from moving forward, that prevent us from evolving, that prevent us from aligning to our higher selves. This particular energy is going to trigger a huge urge, huge desire, a huge passion to say, screw all these dark forces, screw all these memories, screw all this trauma, screw all this pain. I am going to do what it takes in order for me to manifest the dream and the vision that I know my spirit, my heart, my soul is aligned with. That I know that I was here, given this opportunity to pursue. I am not going to let these dark force energies have control over me any longer. And this is just the kind of motivation, just the kind of fuel, just the kind of inspiration that we need to make a change, to step out of the darkness, to stand into the light, and to start setting the tone for the new intentions that we are planting the seeds of under this new moon energy.